All right, here we are. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jake, Coach Jake, here to discuss. So, the number one podcast, what's it about, right? If you notice the actual logo for the podcast, No1, I'm trying to do a little bit of being clever here. It's inspired by the design for 10X. I like the simplicity, the stark colors, all that. So I made No1, but that has a dual meaning, right? It has the idea of number one, first of all, but phonetically or whatever it is, No1, which is no one, no one. So the whole concept is talking about strategies from being a no one in your field to being number one in your field, right? And so I've interviewed some fantastic people. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my link is number one ninja or no one ninja, no1.ninja. That was the only URL I could find. And I think it's apt because the song by D. Ontward was actually the inspiration for the podcast name. So I think it's apt to give them some props. If you ever heard that song, I love that song. It's a great song. It's off their last song on the last album, D. Ontward. Got to check it out. So, today I wanted to talk about passion. Okay. So I've talked about these 4 pillars of greatness. I think I got to add a 5th after yesterday's talk. This week I've been talking about this signature talk that I'm trying to put together, trying to do like a TED talk or something like that. And, so I could do more public speaking on the stage. I've been doing broadcasting and stuff for ages now. So I want to actually do more live talks. By the way, book me, hit me up, DM. You got an event, man. I'll rock it. I'll get them laughing, motivated, having fun, buying my product. Anyway, Wrestling with Greatness is this signature talk, talking about the impact of wrestling and what I've extrapolated from my experience in wrestling and the business of wrestling in terms of greatness. Okay, I've been very lucky to be around truly the very best in the business. That's what I do is I seek out the top of the food chain and I try to learn from them. That's my jam, right? So the first pillar of greatness in my Wrestling with Greatness talk was that you got to get real. You got to deal with facts, okay? Whether you like them or not, strip the emotion away, deal with the reality. Some people call that rock bottom, man. So that's rock bottom for a lot of people, okay? But get real. And then the second pillar is that you've got to find an obsession. And that's really what I want to kind of talk about. Now, obsession has bad connotations in our society because, you have obsessive compulsive disorder. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, fuck those people, first of all. If you have to come at me with some bullshit diagnosis that you can't find under a fucking microscope or a slide or a blood panel or a scan even, go fuck off because it's not a permanent thing. And you're doing what's called a nocebo, okay? A nocebo. It's the opposite of a placebo. Placebo is like, I have an inert sugar pill. Doesn't do anything. It's just sugar. It's like a Tic Tac. But I tell you, it'll cure your depression or your whatever, cancer. And I give it to you. And merely by the power of belief, you're cured. Now, there's a lie involved, right? That's the problem with placebos. It actually abrogates part of medical ethics, right? There's this idea of principlism, which the first is do no harm, but the second principle is informed consent. And so the way doctors use placebo is actually deceptive. It's still helping, okay? But a nocebo is the opposite. I give you that Tic Tac, that sugar pill, but I say, this is poison, man. It's going to jack your shit up. And you get all fucked up. Mental beliefs. And words do that, okay? So anyway, I don't want to get too far off, but I want, maybe the best way to describe obsession in a different framework is single-minded focus. This is the aim of meditation. This is the aim of an athlete when they're focused on the goal line, on scoring points or winning, beating their opponent. Single-minded focus. So first one, get real, deal with facts. Second one, single-minded focus or obsession. I like obsession because single-minded focus takes a lot of the emotion out. There needs to be emotion. You need to be a little bit crazy, healthy obsession, but a little bit crazy, very single-minded. Third pillar, take risks. Take risks. You got to take risks. Fourth pillar, calculate a risk, mind you. Calculate it. Don't be stupid. Okay? Like, you've got to be willing to fail, but you got to do your best. Hey, what's up, Drew? You got to do your best in terms of your calculations and your risk. Okay? Fourth pillar is tremendous effort, massive action, a lot of work. These are basic, okay? If you don't do these, they're not going to happen for you anywhere. All right. So, and then the fifth pillar, I think you have to add, that I discussed yesterday as I've been thinking about this and having this conversation with you guys. So I appreciate that, is people. You need people no matter what. You're going to need people. You can't do it yourself, especially as you get bigger and bigger. Okay. So, Drew, life is about risk assessment and risk management, taking calculated risk. Now, see, you're thinking like me, like a finance guy. Most of the way finance has been taught in the late 20th century, early 21st century has been risk-based. And I think it is a useful framework, a way to look at scenarios. Okay, so that said, how do you discover your obsession? How do you find your passion? And then how do you turn that passion into a profession or into profits? What's involved there? Okay. So let's break that down. I have a couple strategies when, I work with clients and they're like, man, I don't know. I can't figure it out. I want to do this. I want to do that. Blah, 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 blah. And they can't just get single-minded focus. They're just pulled in too many directions. And trust me, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay. But if you want to accomplish what I'm telling you, you got to pick one. Okay. You got to pick one. You got to do that because you unless you have an army of people helping you, which you may down the road when you've leveraged that single-minded focus and people start following you and digging what you're doing, then you could start doing division of labor into different fields. But to begin with, I'm talking baseline. You haven't started anything. I'm imagining I'm talking to my 15-year-old daughter. And I'm like, okay, this is maybe what you should consider doing to figure this out. Okay. But I think this applies to anybody from like 15-year-old and any age older. Okay. So here's what the first thing I do. And now, mind you, my 15-year-old does have a credit card because I do not. Okay. By the way, I got 3 kids. Okay. 15, 12, and 10 as of this broadcast. Fantastic humans, constantly commented upon for how mature and how awesome they are, that they don't behave like other kids. I'm sure part of that is because of me and Sandra and just genetic bullshit. Okay, fine. Nature. But I think nurture plays a huge part into behavior as well. Okay. And we took them out of public school early. In fact, my 10-year-old has never stepped foot in a public school, socialized education. They can't fucking, okay. If you can't even teach people fucking basic math or reading, these people graduating. This is not controversial at all. If you can't teach basic math, basic fucking reading comprehension, where do you get off on teaching anybody anything about their fucking relationships, their identity, sexuality, Politics, fuck off with that shit. So I'm sorry. I'm passionate about this. Fuck public school. Okay. Fuck it. Fuck public school. Okay. Clip that, make a fucking loop out of it. Put it on a rap video. I don't give a fuck. Fuck public school. It's no good. No fucking bueno. Waste of time. Basically, it's, have you ever heard of the public school to prison pipeline? Google that shit, dude. It's very, very compelling. Anyway, my kids, they all have credit cards. My 10-year-old has a credit card. Now, it's it's called Greenlight. It's for kids. It's such a fantastic tool to start educating kids about finance and business and whatnot. Greenlight, if you got kids, it's fucking awesome. So anyway, the first thing I would do, if you're stumped on what is it that you're passionate about, first of all, man, if you don't know what you're passionate about, you don't know yourself, right? And my coaching company is called Thales Coaching. And Thales had all kinds of famous quotes, like everything in moderation. But I think his most famous, and the one I like a lot, is know thyself. Know thyself. Important stuff, guys. Okay, so this said, how do you find a passion if you're clueless? Because it does happen. I have people, but I'm just trying to encourage you, man. You got to figure out, you got to get like in tune with your own responses, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird thing being a conscious human, having awareness, because a lot of your body is automatic. Right now, we're sitting here, you're watching this shit, I'm bullshitting, you're breathing, you're blinking, your cells are dividing, your heart is beating. A lot of stuff is automatic. Most of what you're doing is automatic, okay? A very thin sliver of your consciousness is free floating or free will. These are all really fucking ill-defined, okay? But that process is minimal. So what that process, that consciousness, that awareness, that free will, whatever the hell you want to call it, I'm not going to debate about that shit. But that part of the mind, okay? Daniel Kahneman calls it the slow thinking. It's the analytical mind. The fast thinking is the automatic, right? Somebody throws something in my face, I don't see it, boom, and I catch it. That's a reaction. That's fast thinking. That's automatic, okay? It's part of the automatic part of the body, the system. I love that metaphor better than conscious, subconscious. You need to see with your critical mind, the slow thinking mind, observe your own body. What makes you fucking excited? Where does your mind go? Now, this is where you might want to do an assessment. Like, is it fucking healthy? Is it gambling? Is it porno? Is it drugs? Is it, I don't know, whatever, anything that's not really getting you what your overarching goals when you apply the analytical slow mind as to like what you want with your life. Is it fitting into that? So you need to kind of look at those responses. And a lot of it, Pavlov showed there's conditioned response. I mean, these fucking cell phones are the worst, dude. They're like a casino on steroids in the fucking palm of your hand. And what I mean by that is casinos are designed. No windows, no clocks, keep you trapped inside, spending money, bells, flashing lights. That's right in your fucking hand right now, man. Just being real, right? A thing a phrase I coined is don't let your cell phone replace self-own, like self-ownership. Your cellular phone, don't let it replace self-ownership. Don't let your cell phone replace self-own. Really, okay? Now, that said, what I would do is, first thing, look at what excites you. Me, I fucking love wrestling, man. I love all of it. I love submission grappling first. I love pro wrestling second. I love MMA. I love fucking folk style, Greco-Roman, all kinds of folk wrestling. Schwingen for my friend Luis. What's up, brother? I mean, I think it's all absolutely fascinating. It gets me fucking pumped up, man. Once you get me talking about it, I'm excited. I know that about myself. Know thyself. I know this. Okay. So for me, it was a no-brainer to make scientificwrestling.com. right? No brainer. Because entrepreneurship, dude, you don't have a boss. You're the boss. You do have a boss. You're the boss. You don't have an outside boss cracking the fucking whip or dangling the carrot or giving you the Tony Robbins rah-rah speech. You have to do that yourself when you are your own boss. And so you are best served trying to do something you are excited about. Because if you're doing it in your free time and even spending money to do it, you fucking love that shit. Does that make sense? So my first thing is know yourself, know what your responses are. If you still are like got so many problems and so distracted you can't figure out what you're excited. Hey, what's up, Dominic? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, man, 10x, brother. So if you don't know yourself well enough for that, I just gave you a clue. Okay, look at the shit, your hobbies, the things you do to spend your time. You spend your time doing. Okay, and make sure they're like healthy. Okay, I'm not suggesting if like you're a porn addict, go become a porn producer. I mean, maybe, dude, but I wouldn't recommend it. That's gonna fuck your head up, probably, most likely. Okay, and you're gonna end up with diseases and the lawn. You're fucking. It's not. I don't. Anyway, my point is find something where you're spending time for free, and even better, spending money. Now, if you don't even know that, you just so fucking whatever you can. Go look at your bank statement. Go look at your credit card. Go through haven't you ever done this exercise? This is basic financial coaching. I'm a financial coach. I got, beyond being a certified 10X coach, speaker, but that's more about like wealth and for me and business development. There's a bunch of different people who do different things with it, sales, marketing, things like that. I'm also a Ramsey certified financial coach, right? I don't even know what they call it, but a master coach with Dave Ramsey's organization. They have you do this exercise where you go through your bank statements and your credit cards and you figure out like what's a want, what's a necessity. You put a W and an N and you go through. Okay? Go do that. Go through it. Okay? Do that. It's going to also help you get rid of shit and undo subscriptions and stuff that they're blowing money. Okay? But the real reason is, see, I think Dave Ramsey is good for saving money, but he ain't good for making money. Okay? Cardone is fantastic for making money. He ain't so good for saving money, but the combo is powerful in terms of accelerating your wealth, right? So go through your bank statement, make wants and need, like check them all off. Go through like a year, okay? This isn't fucking that hard. It's a little boring, but just do it because there's a reason. So once you go through, look at all the W's, okay? And categorize them. What am I spending shit on? God damn, I spend a lot of money on food. Okay? I'm just making shit up. I don't know. But you go through and you like, damn, dude, my number one expense that's a want, I could go home and cook at home. But my number is I like going out to eat. Okay. Make note of that. Going out to eat. What's the other thing? Oh man, I spend a shit ton on tennis. Or I spend a shit ton on books. Or I spend a shit ton on eyelash extensions. Man, I don't need that shit, dude. I got fucking crazy eyelashes. Whatever it is, okay? And then rank. What am I? Okay, number one is food. Number two is tennis. Number three is fucking eyelashes or hair extensions. I don't know what the fuck. Dude, I don't got hair extensions either. Eyelashes, whatever. You look through the shit and you figure it out. That is going to give you a clue possibly where you should start a business for a couple reasons. Okay? If I go through and I look at like, what am I spending all my money on? Can't get this hat on right. Yeah, look at all these fucking wrinkles I got, man. I'd look young if it wasn't all. I look like a Sharpay. Look at that shit. Anyway, go through all of your things, find them, rank them, all your wants. Now, this is going to do a couple things. I don't hear anybody talking about this shit. This is like my idea, just like the 5 pillars now. I got to make 5 pillars of greatness for my Wrestling with Greatness talk. I don't hear people talking about this. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but I'm hoping this is fucking helping you make it a side hustle, make your side hustle into a main hustle, and make your main hustle into like some real wealth muscle, you know? Man, I should be a rapper. Some of the shit that I come up with. Don't let cell phone replace cell phone. That was good. That's totally meme worthy. So here's what you're gonna do, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go and you're going to make that list. And the reason why is that once you make that list and you figure out what you're spending all your money on, listen, this is how scientific wrestling started. Because I was spending so much money on wrestling shit, grappling, from seminars to gear to books to instructional material, flights, dude, like training camps, like tons and tons of money, right? Boom. I was like, dude, if I create a business around this, I had no products, no service. I wasn't really an expert back then, but I was a massive fucking consumer. I was an expert consumer on this shit, which you're one step away from being an expert when you're an expert consumer on something, okay? I was like, I could write all this shit off if I fucking just started an LLC. So at least I don't have to fucking pay tax on this shit that I am loving and I'm just spending all my money on. You know, tax is your biggest expense. Do you know that? You don't know that because it's taken out through withholding. Again, a psychological trick. And you know who the motherfucker, ironic, who came up with that shit? Super libertarian Milton Friedman. Super smart guy, got hired by the government, came up with that idea, tax withholding. I think he spent the rest of his life trying to fucking undo that fuck up. That's why he became a hardcore libertarian. Major fucking, that's where all your money's going. Tax on shit that you don't fucking even want to spend your own money on, like bombing innocent brown people overseas, incarcerating fucking innocent people here. Bullshit. Fucking Fauci's goddamn salary. He's the highest paid motherfucker in government. He wasn't even elected. Fuck that shit. Okay? That's why the founders, man, this whole country's based on like saying fuck no to taxes. Okay? We need to repeal that 13th Amendment. Just get that going, first of all. That needs to trend like a motherfucker. But it's also like the third rail politically because that's how all these motherfuckers get paid that run the guns and jails and bombs. And anyway, don't get me started. So now you can write off your taxes, all the stuff that you're spending your money on that you're passionate about. That's reason number 1. Boom. Now you can buy like 40% more shit. I mean, you're still gonna have to pay sales tax. You're gonna have all these other taxes and shit, right? So, oh man, see you, brother. See you, Average Grappler. Yeah, come back anytime, brother. So that's number 1. But then start thinking, if you're an expert consumer in the space, okay, meaning you buy a bunch of shit. So, you know, like, dude, I bought into all grand stuff. That's why I'm able to sell. Because I know it fucking so well. Right? Same with wrestling. I was like an expert, dude. I knew every little fucking thing because I was like in the mix, man. Going, kicking ass, getting my ass kicked, going to fucking random gyms, traveling the fucking world, doing all this stuff, doing grappling, doing pro wrestling, doing folk style, all of it, man. I was like a fucking nerd. I was an expert consumer. And all I had to do, because you're an expert, if you're an expert consumer on whatever it is, tennis, fucking eyelashes, hair extensions, tennis shoes, massage, fucking house cleaning. I mean, well, probably not house cleaning, but you get my point. If you get to be like expert on this stuff, you know the market and what people buy because you're that person. This is crucial. So when I entered into 2003, I started Scientific Wrestling. I created it because I wanted the products that I was creating. They did not exist. Okay? In 2003, for those of you that ain't fucking ancient like me, and for some of you that are ancient, it'll be reminiscent. But in 2003, the landscape was all Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's still kind of fucking that way, to be honest. But all Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Great stuff. Okay? I have no problem with it. It's just not my cup of tea, man. Some people like fucking strawberry ice cream. I'm a pass, right? It's just, I don't like it. But have as much fucking strawberry ice cream as you want. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not going to stop you. Go to town. I can see all the benefits of fucking strawberry ice cream. Okay? I just don't want to fucking hear it. Anyway, it was all this thing, right? And so I had come up. I started with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for submission grappling anyway in 94. Came up through it. Had a great time. Really loved it. It was like a foregone conclusion that if you didn't know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you were not a complete martial artist. You were going to get your ass kicked in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, blah, 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 propaganda, marketing, okay? And I bought it. Like most people, I'm just as susceptible to this shit, although I do have a very critical mind. And I do look for anomalies. I wrote a whole fucking book called Anomaly about the benefit of looking for outliers, for things, and studying the things that go against the dominant paradigm, because there's tremendous value and knowledge probably hidden in there. Anyway, 2003, it's all Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's what, and I'm actually doing Japanese style pro wrestling in Hayward, California, with this group of guys, Mike Modest, Donovan Morgan. They started a gym. There was an offshoot of Pro Wrestling Noah. This is for you pro wrestling nerds. Tetsuo, Pro Wrestling Tetsuo, Puro Resu Tetsuo or something. That's Iron, Pro Wrestling Iron. And it was more of a shoot style, strong style organization. Sakuraba, okay, who we'll get to, one of my greatest heroes, one of the biggest influences on my life. He now wrestles for them, now that he's older, okay? But it's a worked organization. It's predetermined outcomes and stuff. But you have to understand, Japanese pro wrestling was heavily influenced and was the proto-mixed martial arts. I don't give a fuck. Fight me. It's the truth. Japanese strong style and shoot style. Now, it was shoot style, not pure shoot. That's what I did. But Japanese shoot style, Japanese strong style were the precursors to modern MMA. Dude, I will fucking bury you if you argue me on this point. I'm a nerd. I know this. I've lived this for 20 years. Pro Wrestling Noah started this group up in Northern California. I happened to be back there because I was finishing up my grad degree in financial engineering. I was still deep into pro wrestling. I was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I did not like the work part in the same way there was parts of jiu-jitsu I didn't like. I didn't like being on my back. I didn't like wearing the fucking pajamas, all that kind of stuff. But what was really, really cool and was kind of cosmic for me in terms of the development of scientific wrestling was that I'm at Pro Wrestling Noah. The way that we practiced, okay, the shows are predetermined. You know who's going to win, who's going to lose. But when you practice in the gym, it was a shoot, right? Except for the drilling. But we would practice and actually wrestle. And I was like, fuck, I found my people, man. This is like the jam. It's like real wrestling with submissions. I love this shit. What is this? At the same time, fucking Sakuraba's coming up, okay? Sakuraba is the only fighter, Hall of Fame UFC fighter. He was only on one show, okay? Because he was the first guy on a big stage to defeat a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Then he went on to just fucking mow him down, like just fucking annihilate, like humiliate them. You know, if you weren't there in this era, this was like a flat earther being fucking vindicated. Like it just was mind blowing. You're like, wait, the earth is flat? A pro wrestler is beating the fucking jiu-jitsu Gracie fucking aristocracy? It was mind blowing. Okay. I'm training at this dojo that is like that style. And then soccer, it just was mind blowing to me. And I became deeper obsessed in grappling. And I knew that I needed to do something with scientific wrestling. Okay. I needed to create something because it didn't exist. I told you, jiu-jitsu wasn't cutting it for me. I didn't like the fucking pajamas. I didn't like no takedowns. I'm starting on your fucking knees. It was just stupid. I didn't like this Japanese strong style because I actually wanted to fucking compete. I don't like MMA because I don't like getting punched in the fucking head. Okay, in 2003, I went to the very first Team Quest, which was like Randy Couture and Lin Lin and Dan Henderson. Who else was supposed to be there? The guy from Hawaii, the jiu-jitsu phenom. Anyway, went to this first camp, got punched in the head a couple times by Ryan Schultz, who's a badass. He's actually here in Colorado. I haven't talked to him in ages, but not since then. But dude, that was what I was like, dude, I'm not into this concussion shit. I'm not into getting punched in the head. I love the physical chess, as my coach Billy would call it, of wrestling. I love it. It's fucking really exciting and fun. Okay, so, but nothing existed like it. Nothing. So I sat down and I'm like, okay, I need to make this thing. I'm spending, BJ Penn. Thanks, Drew. Yeah, duh. So anyway, he wasn't actually there. He was billed to be there and then didn't come. It was a bummer because I wanted to wrestle with him. But I did great with all the submission grappling. But boy, when we started boxing, dude, I just got fucking smoked. I hated it. And it didn't exist. Okay. So my point was, I was an expert consumer. I'm going to these training camps. I'm going to these schools, spending so much money. I need to write it off. Boom. Incorporate. I'm writing it off. I'm saving money. Now I'm realizing like this don't exist. And I'm a nerd. And I can't be the only fucking person who would love to see this shit happen. That was the next step. And so I did. So I came up with this fucking mega big plan for scientific wrestling. And here we are next year will be 20 years later. And I'm having Shoot Pro Wrestling with high-end. Go shootprowrestling.com. Man, I need to put that on my little fucking thing. Go to shootprowrestling.com. What's up, Oliver? Good to see you, brother. Shoot Pro Wrestling. I have high-level athletes. Jacoby Jones, who's my middleweight champion, just won High Rollers BJJ. This is a stud competing under catch wrestling rules. Now, I innovated it because it was some shit that I wanted to see. I want to see pure competitive grappling under professional wrestling rules. So I fucking did it. Nobody has done that. Okay? So I had a fucking tag team tournament. The champs, by the way, Star Wars, Josh LeDuc, and my buddy Brandon Ruiz, who's a world champ grappler, FILA or UWW or whatever, hold the tag. Dude, it's happened now. Okay? Now, I'm too fucking old. I've got one carotid artery. I can't get in there. It kills me, and we'll talk about, one day I'll talk about, the day when, your passion has to really change, like, especially if you're an athlete and that expiration date hits and how fucking brutal. That took me out. Like, I was depressed. Like, there's no way. No, I didn't need no fucking pills. I was bummed out. I'm not saying like some mental illness bullshit. I was bummed out because something I loved was taken from me. It was a loss. Excuse me. Anyway, I'll talk about that some other day. But I was able to channel all this passion into this endeavor. So scientific wrestling, I've said this on podcasts for fucking 15 years. I've had this shit planned out, motherfuckers. I got graphs. Some of the names were changed. Like the first phase of scientific wrestling was going to be education. And that's what scientificwrestling.com is about. It's all like Kaiju Wrecking Machine. Any wrestling promoter should be real good wrestlers. I mean, you don't have to be the best, but you got to fucking understand the plight that you guys are going to go through and how to actually wrestle. And you got to put asses in seats or it's not sustainable. This is the problem with folk style wrestling. I love it. It's a great rule set. Okay. Most UFC champs come out of folk style, which is a derivative of catch can wrestling. Okay. Which, yes, I am a foremost fucking planetary, maybe universal expert on that subject because of my fucking obsession. But dude, folk style and Olympic wrestling, which freestyle is also a derivative of catch can, it got booted off the fucking Olympics. Why? Because they're not a business. It's socialism, dude. Still, I had to fucking be the guy to pull the fucking covers the veil from your fucking eyes, but that shit was socialism. It's not sustainable. It never is. Never has been. And it never fucking will be. I don't care what kind of Star Trek fucking jerk off fantasy you have. It ain't gonna happen. Because supply and demand exists at all levels. And it always will. Because time is fucking a finite resource. They ain't making any more of it, dude. And there's no fucking time machine coming anytime soon. I don't give a fuck what Ancient Aliens says. Okay? Deal. It don't work. And that's why folk style's almost dead. I mean, and if it wasn't for UFC making it relevant, a business, it probably would have died. And freestyle wrestling, I mean, they've changed the rules so much it just looks like fucking sumo anymore. But anyway, you've got to find something that you're passionate about. And the best way is sometimes is because you're an expert fucking consumer of it. And you take place in it. I'm not a champ. I've beaten some fucking pretty big names in the gym, and it's kind of bad taste to bring those up. So I don't, but I don't give a fuck. Okay. I know what my vision is. I've had clarity for 20 years and I've busted my ass to make it happen. All the 5 pillars. And I've had a lot of help from some fantastic people. I've mentioned some of them. Brandon Ruiz, Josh LeDuc, Sam Crescent, Jesse Merez, Luis Ojeda, dude. And if I don't mention you, it's no slight. I'm just saying there's so many, I can't even fucking name them. But all those fucking 5 pillars that I've been talking about all week were crucial to this success. Okay. But you've got to find the thing. And the easiest way to find your passion is to consider, what are you an expert consumer of? Or what do you spend all your time doing? Or where does your mind go? Right. And then try to make sure that that's a healthy one. Drew has a comment. He says, I love folk style wrestling, but watching someone get pinned in a cradle is not as enjoyable for the average consumer as a leg lock. Yeah. So, this is what I love about Shoot Pro Wrestling. And everybody fucking flips out when they see it and when they hear the rules. And my battle is the battle against obscurity, as Cardone says. By the way, if you guys know sponsors, I need sponsors. I'm at that stage, dude. I am so close. LeDuc, who is a very savvy dude in this business, he's like, man, this reminds me of the early days of the UFC. And I'm like, fuck yeah, it does. This is something big. So I need sponsors. I need people who share my vision. Okay. But I started this at the beginning as a vision. This is why Carl Gotch became my friend and my mentor. Okay. You can go listen, carlgotch.com. Go listen. I have hours and hours of our conversations. And that's like fucking tip of the iceberg of the shit that we talked about. I have letters. I have all kinds of stuff, man. He was a really solid dude because he shared my vision. This is the same guy started New Japan Pro Wrestling, influenced Pancrase, all these proto MMA things. He gets it, dude. He was in the corner with fucking Inoki against Ali. And he saw my vision. He helped me pen the rules for my open tournament, King of Catch. So the first phase was education with scientific wrestling. Books, DVDs, training camps with people who actually knew what the fuck was up. That was another problem. There's a lot of fucking bullshit going on. Very low quality standards. That still happens today, but not with my fucking company. My company is top fucking quality control. Okay, no bullshit. Anyway, I won't get into that. So that was phase 1. Okay, phase 1. Phase 2 was kind of the King of Catch era, 2007, coaching catch era with the certified catch wrestler program, which now goes by Coaching Catch. Been around since 2007. King of Catch Wrestling has been around since 2007. Those were the next phases, to go from education to get people to accept that this was a real fucking thing. It's not pro wrestling and it's not jujitsu. That catch can was its own fucking thing. Okay. Scientific wrestling, by the way. I think that I've sadly had to kind of separate myself because of the lack of quality control and people just jumping on the bandwagon and calling whatever mishmash of bullshit catch wrestling. It still is a term that means something, but the quality control on catch wrestling is bad. The quality control on scientific wrestling is of the highest standards, the highest. Fight me, dude. Carl Gotch, Billy Robinson, Wade Chalice, Dick Cardinal, like legit. Okay. Tons of documented pictures. Sakura or Fujiwara's instructional came out in 93. All submissions, called Submission Master. I fought to get the rights to that. And that is a year before the fucking UFC came out. Okay. So fuck off with that shit. I'm past that. Hey, what's up, Brendan? Dude, now we got some international motherfuckers, some rock stars up in here. What's up, dude? By the way, Brendan has a song called Do It Again, and they sample Billy Robinson. Fucking amazing. It's I have to be honest, I don't know if my DJ put it in or not. He fucking better, but I got to go back and listen. But it's a theme for Shoot Pro Wrestling. So phase 2 was instigating high-level training and competition, open competition. Phase 3 now, originally I just called it pro catch wrestling, but I hated that term. It was just, I couldn't think. And then eventually Shoot Pro Wrestling was the brand that I decided on. I think it's a great name. I think it conveys everything, especially to people who are pro wrestling nerds, because my vision is this. I spent fucking 20 years knocking on the door of jiu-jitsu to have them understand this shit, okay? And all I ever got was people ripping off the fucking ideas and renaming them, okay? Zero credit for, not me, for catch wrestling, for scientific wrestling. And a lot of fucking chauvinism and a lot of bullshit. I mean, dude, back in 2000, or 2000, when was I talking to Carl? 2004 to 2007 when he passed, people would ask Carl, oh, what do you think of the guard and stuff like this? These fucking know-it-all dummies. Asking this fucking genius, this old school badass genius, Carl Gotch, pioneer, founder of this shit. They didn't even know. What do you think of the guard? It's so great, blah, blah, blah. He's like, dude, somebody give me their fucking legs like that, I'm going to break their legs. Okay? And he was ridiculed. This fucking giant genius of a fucking human being in the grappling space, ridiculed for that. And now people don't even fucking pass guard. They go straight for the legs. Not one acknowledgement or apology to the man. Okay? And because he was fucking right. So, King of Catch was my attempt to open up this basically no holds barred, no rank shit. Anybody can enter. And this is the other thing that what differentiates us. You know, I have this affiliate program called scientificwrestler.com. In my opinion, there is no reason why scientific wrestling shouldn't have as many, if not more, affiliate gyms than, say, 10 Planet or even Gracie Barra. That's my new thing. So my new target is to get 100 affiliates, gyms, working our program. Okay, you can go to scientificwrestler.com. It has all the details. But you know, like, I feel that this sport is the next level. You can see the no-gi game is totally shifting. This is why BJJ fanatics ask me, Josh Barnett, Harry Smith, Sam Crescent, Jesse Merez, all these guys to do fucking videos because it is completely relevant. It is outside the paradigm. Again, an anomaly. And it is badass. Okay. So anyway, I'm getting all flabbergasted. The point is that you can see my passion, dude. I'm fucking serious. I'm willing to fight over it. Like, and I have. Okay. I mean, I've got death threats and shit. Like, it's just, I'm not suggesting that. And those were when I was 30 and full of a lot more testosterone and a lot dumber. I don't do that shit anymore. But I'm just telling you, this level of passion is what's going to keep you going through the hard times. When 2013, I didn't know this at the time. 2013, I'm having fucking strokes. I'm losing sensation on my hands. I'm having blindness. I'm faint and lightheaded. I don't know what's going on. Meanwhile, my left fucking carotid's been collapsed from too many chokes. It's called a carotid dissection. this is going to be a big problem. What concussions and CTE is into the NFL, this is coming for jiu-jitsu and MMA. Just warning you guys. Anyway, I didn't know what was going on. It was undiagnosed. And I just was like, dude, I'm fucked up. I got to get off the mat. And I didn't know. And I had to fucking hang up my boots, dude. It was brutal. It was brutal. It was so depressing. And then 3 months later, in like end of February, my fucking coach, and the guy was like family, dude, Billy Robinson, dies. So I had like a double whammy. I basically can't fucking wrestle for shit anymore. One of my best friends and my mentor and coaches dies of 7 years. Dude, it was brutal. And I pretty much quit. Gonna be real. Pretty much quit. Thank God. Again, just miracle. I don't even know. Wade Chalice, randomly, a month before Billy passes, Wade, who I had sought out for some stuff early before I hooked up with Billy and Carl. I had hooked up with him in the early 2000s to learn about cradles, which are now all the craze, thanks to guys like Dave Petrone, Neil Melanson, guys that I've worked with. But I got caught in a cradle by a friend, and it was so embarrassing. I was like, holy fuck, this is a major hole in jiu-jitsu. And so I sought out the guy, Wade Chalice, right? Well, I just had released his DVDs, remastered them, filmed some stuff, did some filming and production for him. And it was great, right? Love Wade. But I hadn't really trained with him that much. I was focused on pure catch with these old classical guys. Well, a month before Billy passes, Wade is like, hey, I love what you're doing. I want to get involved. I mean, just out of the blue. I'm like, okay, awesome. But I already had Billy and whatnot. And I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. And then Billy dies. And I'm depressed. And Wade, and again, one of my biggest supporters, a super good friend to me, and a great human being, super smart guy, Josh Barnett. Both Wade and Josh kind of picked up the mantle. I didn't tell them this. They just kind of did it. I was depressed. I didn't want anything to fucking do with it. I was withering away because of the carotid dissection. And I was just fucking jacked, dude. I want nothing to do with it. And my wife was like, no, you need to keep doing it. She'll tell you, I wanted to quit so many times. And then my friends, Sam and Jesse, Sam in particular was like, dude, Billy would want you to go on. You need to go. And I just got over my pity party and did it. And that's when I revamped coaching catch, developed Shoe Pro, moved on to the last phase of the development for this plan. So the reason I'm telling you this fucking sob story is that if it's not something that you're passionate about, like I'm fucking nutty passionate about grappling and wrestling, when hard shit comes, like a stroke, like your best friend or coach dying, all that kind of stuff, it's your passion that's going to keep you fucking hanging on by even a thread. And I wanted to quit, but because I was so passionate, my friends, the people who knew me and cared, wouldn't let it happen. Okay. So this is why you need to find something you're passionate about, because you can't control certain things in your life. You want to try and control as much as you can, but you have to deal with the fact that you can't control fucking death, can't control time. Sometimes there's random shit like a carotid dissection. You don't know. Okay. So you need to, Drew says, dude, that is some scary shit with the carotid issue. Yeah, dude. I'm so fucking like, I'm past the cat, dude. I've survived more shit. It's crazy, from the cancer and the gangrene and the fucking carotid and a broken neck. And like, dude, like literally cat don't got no shit on me. Anyway, that's why you got to find your passion. So I don't know if this was any fucking assistance. I definitely got fired up, if you can't tell. So it is crucial. Maybe it's tennis. Maybe it's fucking playing the guitar or the piano. Okay. You may not even know that you're really passionate about it because you haven't given yourself a fucking chance to get passionate about it. Okay. But that shift, Drew asked, how did you break your neck? Because I was a dummy, and probably the same reason I fucking got a carotid, because I'm a fucking dummy. And I was an early adopter into the grappling scene. And so just like in the early days of MMA, a lot of these guys were banging hard during practice, and then I'm just totally fucking concussed and jacked now with pugilistica dementia or whatever it's called, dementia pugilistica or whatever. dude, we used to really try to fight out at chokes like idiots. So the neck thing happened actually early on. This is why I had to go to a chiropractor early on. Was I was an early adopter of submission grappling. So I'm a huge advocate of having information the other guy doesn't have. I believe asymmetrical information. That's why I went so deep down the esoteric hole of catch, because it was so completely different than jiu-jitsu that even if somebody was a better athlete than me, tougher than me, I could beat him because I knew tricks, right? And so especially in the early days, man, because the internet wasn't around, it was new, so not everybody knew everything and not everything was out, right? So I was going through a tear, man. We were doing challenge matches because there was nothing really like that to exist. And so at Boulder Karate, he was a D1 wrestler. I can't remember his name. This is 1994 when I first started. And he was way better than me. And I think he was a weight class above me. And I shot in on him, sloppy, and he fucking got a front headlock, and I tried to fight out of it, and fucked up my neck bad. But luckily, my judo coach at the time, Bernd Bush, at the Boulder Y, he was a senior nationals champ, great guy, super nice, German. He was also a chiropractor. And so, man, he just didn't charge me. I was young, I couldn't afford it. Didn't charge me, just took care of me, told me what to do. I avoided surgery. Maybe I probably should have, because then it was my Achilles heel, was my neck. Plus I'd already been radiated there, so it was already fucked up. And then, so that's how I broke it. Yeah, T1. If you look at my neck now, you see this fucking crazy, I don't know if you can see it. See that calcification for the T1? Anyway, that was kind of the beginning of bad injuries, but I wrestled on it for 15, 20 years. Pro wrestling involved. So my neck is pretty fucked because, the pro wrestling has a lot of whiplash in it as well. So, yeah, anyway, that's how that happened. I don't know. The doctors timed the carotid dissection around 2006, 2007. So it was sometime when I was running my club at Santa Monica High School Wrestling Club, is my guess. It's hard to say. I don't know. Because you're getting choked all the time and you're fucking sore and you don't know. Anyway. So guys, I hope this was helpful for you. You've got to figure out what your passion is, and you've got to develop a passion too. Part of the reason why I'm so passionate about these things is because I'm invested in them. Wrestling, I'm fucking invested. I've spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in wrestling. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in educating myself about business. Okay? And that's not counting the time. Once you really push yourself and commit and get really invested in something, the passion will come. But you need to find maybe those things that you're not conscious of that you've been investing in. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. I will catch you guys next week. I'm doing these broadcasts every weekday, but not the weekends. So I hope this is okay for you guys. And we'll see you guys next week. Remember, guys, share, like. You can still comment afterwards. I'll respond. It is harder for me to respond live in the chat or typing, but I can do that afterwards. So, and I can post links and stuff if you need references to any of this bullshit that I'm talking about. So, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Make the most of it and find your passion, guys. Talk to you then.